ukulele out to the street.
She didn't have a call break. So I'm going to do it.
Not yet. He hasn't gotten to those low. What have I done?
Yes, I told him to.
Hey, Chris and Kelly.
He loves
What's going on?
pull that out. He's like, hey,
Good.
yeah, sure.
Whatever you say goes. That's what we did last year.
It was. He's like, it's a love song, but don't worry, my wife heard it.
Sing it to everybody.
I was like, yeah. I was like, I wasn't thinking anything.
I didn't.
Kelly Todd going down there.
Oh gosh, it was just like, I was like, you funny to forget.
Well, now we are BFFs. We have bonded over, guess what?
I don't know if you know Daryl.
Well, I also went down, but I also made fun of her a lot because she couldn't figure out a lot of things on it. But it was fun. She told me all about that. She also told me about, which is interesting about the two that the name is Dwayne Dickey. But no, I didn't. I hadn't made that connection until you sat down.
We were an ad class and I was in the PSA. And he
Yeah. Well, she seems like the real deal. She loves math, which I love. So I got a T-shirt that says I love math and cats from Amazon. Because Amazon has everything, and I sent it to her, and so now she's gonna get it.
I was like, listen, where do you need to go play your new jam?
Yeah,
He's talented though.
Yeah, he's good at it. I know he can do it.
Oh, that's a great
But you,
Oh yeah.
Brad Lewis over at the warehouse, he
That
also
was
plays like a hard.
Yes, yes. I
We can
know.
all get together and do
I heard the whole
like
story,
Yeah.
like a bit about how the other teacher now that name means nothing to me because she wasn't as exciting but that her friend was the emergency vet who did the invitation on the catalog.
Wait.
I know Katie. Katie made Katie sad.
I was love.
Like, what kind of neighborhood?
I can see that
I
now.
was like, what kind of neighborhood do you
But
live
it's
in?
just not there yet, right? It's starting.
Hello.
That's
Cat
so
got
funny.
shot.
She lives in it.
Yeah. Like how serious she
I know. I just heard that one part. It's not about. So it's not
Well, because
I would think it's very nice neighborhood if Romy's living there.
well, no, now we've moved on to a different subject. Here we go. Oh, another.
I know those guys.
That's actually funny.
I know this
Really
guy.
clever.
That's good.
Yes.
I like Paul's reaction. I know this guy.
He's big on the band scene.
His trailer and his
So this fourth grade teacher that she used to be teacher mates with, was it Maisie? And that's where I was in the half day playing with fourth grade. And I don't know how it came up, but this teacher loves, like, obsessed with cats. Like, I mean, I joke around about it, but she's like obsessed, and she has 4 of them. 2 were named after the Allman Brothers.
I didn't bring mine.
But they also look just like mine. They're
I
orange.
know, mine's getting low. I don't know why.
And then she proceeds to say that the other one got out and got shot in the head.
For like 3 hours.
That's what it is. I said, what kind of neighborhood is
It
this?
sounds like it's a neighborhood. It sounds like it's like they literally just live right there. Yeah, they live on the edge of it.
So this is around where Katie lives. So now
That's
Katie's
what they
now
know.
like,
Wait a minute, I need to see my cat.
now I'm invested.
I want
Yeah.
to like,
Cherry's getting it.
but at the same time, I'm like,
Do you need it?
I don't think so.
Do you need
Somebody
a,
wants to go to college, you can't say.
here, I'll get it for you, Dr. That's the one that's right there.
They don't have to like on the
Like English
outside.
is like the main thing you need regulators from.
But the backyard is really cool. Oh, I love that. That's cool. The band.
Yeah.
All the guys playing all the
It's one of the only places my husband will go get sent.
We do come here quite a bit.
right. I don't know what's so funny. That's what I always wondered.
So this concerns me.
Oh, geez, don't say that.
Because
Yeah?
but that's a 6th grade prerequisite skill, negative 4 months. too, right?
Yeah.
But I know they're gonna complain because they're gonna say, we haven't done editors yet.
But in seventh grade, they don't.
They do.
Well, but I mean, right, but only adding and but adding and subtracting then tens within sixth grade.
I know,
Well, they can,
yeah, I'm just saying.
yeah, well, let them complain. I mean, it's for all of them, right? Like, it's graphing's a prerequisite. It's not that they haven't told that.
Adding is a prerequisite skill. They
Yeah,
taught
I know.
me. Reading is a prerequisite skill. They taught that.
So like at the corner of Pine Valley and Amber, like just the Woodbury Forest. That's what I feel like.
My favorite, like first of all, I don't really understand.
Oh, really?
They're all here. So like, do they just use like room and that way? How many, and are we the only ones doing such a job?
All the kids are even
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did make it in compliance with the North Carolina law. Like, it was a whole, yeah, it was a
right.
approval from extenuating circumstances. It's like some weird.
That's what I like. I didn't like. Or they don't come at all. Like they did also.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, I don't know, do something different. Just not November. I just didn't like that. But don't do that. So I'm. So what I'm thinking, and I haven't flushed it out because I think I'm going to buy a fire that's already done. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. And I was going to do curriculum. There's two options for each
Please. Hey, how are you? I think we stayed together last time. Well, I'm just going. Can I hear me together? Okay, I wasn't. I was going to do it from here. All right, we are going to get started.
I didn't realize you were sitting over there. I just saw Miss Bell.
First of all, I hope everybody has had a great Wednesday. So, I am Patrice Faison, Chief Academic Officer of the county, and I want to welcome you to our calendar committee. And this is for next year's calendar. I am going to turn it over to our board members, and I'm turning it over to Mr. Boyer.
How you guys doing? Good to be here again, as always. Love to talk about time, and I won't waste yours, so I'll get right to the point. We have 3 calendars to consider two calendars from Dr. Faison and the administration, and then one that I've been looking at. A lot of counties, a lot of districts have decided to go ahead and, in keeping with the spirit of our mission, which is to educate kids and do what's best for them, to bend the letter of the law. Now, there are risks involved with that. Ultimately, the decision will be with the board, but I certainly wanted to allow the committee to take a look at a calendar that would start our school year on June 21st, allow us to do what we've been trying to do, which is balance the semesters as closely as possible, but make sure that we're out when we want to be out with the first semester before Christmas break. Yes,
Did you say June 21st?
August 21st, right?
August 21st.
Okay, all right.
August 21st.
I was gonna say, they'll be hit.
Starting early.
Start early. Get them out early. Start June 21st, but we got them out June 7th.
We'll go over it. I want to emphasize again that this is not, and it cannot come, it's not coming from our administration. This is coming from me and a couple other board members. Mr. Romanis has seen this as well. I think it's something that it's time to consider. We've been pounding on the table for years. Other districts have moved forward, and I'm ready to explore the consequences, because the consequences of inaction I've seen and I'm kind of fed up with. Plus, I might not be here, so who cares? But thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. McManus, did you want to say anything, sir? Yeah.
Just like we're going to try to break the rules and play with everybody else, which we like right now. I think you're going to get 3 examples of calendars. My purpose for being on the committee is not to tell you what to do. I admit my prejudice because of my high school background, because I think it affects the high school's board. But if you're invited to be on this committee, then we want your recommendation, because you represent, as I've said before, everyone in your arena. And hopefully you ask for their opinion and find out, because our job is to represent what most people want. And kids first, of course, and hopefully that's in everyone's decision-making process. So that's the only reason, and also I want to maintain the integrity of the committee and what's said and what's not, because unfortunately people, who knows what, that's where the dam, we're back, just start anew so that everybody hears the same thing, and hopefully the same people come and keep their commitment to show up. And you may make a decision early and we don't have to have any more meetings, but that's up to you. And I fight to support your input. This is very, very important to all of our schools, but it's also important to our students.
Okay.
What's fair, both educational-wise and their goals. And teachers and the staff, because if the staff isn't happy, nobody's happy. So I appreciate you being here. So thank you very much.
So as the gentleman shared, we will be sharing 3 calendars with you. And of those 3 calendars, we would like for you to narrow it down to 2. Okay? Once we narrow it down to 2, we will be asking for feedback on any changes on those calendars. And we also will be asking the committee about sharing next steps and make sure we're online with next steps. So that's that. But before I pass out the calendars, there's one thing that we need to discuss, and that is our attendance. I would like to propose, but remember, I am one person on the committee, that we look at our attendance, and those people who are not attending the meetings, we remove them from the calendar committee this year. Also, keep in mind, we don't know how the committee will be formed next year and if these same people will be on it. So this is just for the remainder of this year. We might not even have additional meetings, or we might just have 1. And my question to you is, should we do that now, or should we just say, hey, I mean, I look around the room and we have some repeating faces, but we have different faces. So I just want to make sure this committee has a voice on that. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Is there anybody who feels passionate that we should not scrub it for attendance? Because right now, those people, we've had people who've never shown up. So the question is, why do we keep putting those people out there and doing that? You know, I asked, thank goodness, Colin to join, because we had a student, but I've never seen the student, and we want a student voice. So, yes.
I was just going to say, are there any other parents? Well, I know parents and teachers, but just parents Oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize that. I thought last time I was like the only parent. I know,
Oh, no, no,
I
no.
thought every school was supposed to have a representative, so I was confused by that.
Yeah, and well, it says only one parent, and normally it's only one parent, but we added 6 more parents because we wanted more voices. Okay,
Okay, well,
all right, so we're gonna do that if the committee does not have a strong thing against that. Okay, so we'll look at that and we'll make that. There are people who are here who share with us why they can't be here. That's different, but there are people that they're just like, it just goes out there. So just want the committee to know that. Yes.
I do have one question. What if, like, there are groups that are required to be represented in each category? What if no people from that category are represented?
Then we would reach back to the school and get a representative.
So you'd have to get a representative so we couldn't do anything that meeting, or we just have them
Oh, we
the
still
next
can do
meeting?
it. We can still
Okay.
do it. Yeah, it doesn't stop it. Okay, good question. All right, so we're gonna start with the 3 calendars, okay? As she passes out the 3 calendars, we're also gonna pass out sticky notes. Right now, you're looking at the calendars, and I want you to mark 1, 2. Because keep in mind, we're going to be bringing 2 calendars forth. We have 3. 1, 2. Which ones do we bring forth? That's your question. And before you, I'll give you some time to process, but because we had to actually go in and do the dots, I want to just highlight and make sure you see the changes and the differences in the calendars. You should have a calendar A, B2, C2, when it's all said and done.
Thank you.
Do you know who that is?
Thank you.
Because you remember last time we did, it was balance and promotion. But everybody's not happy about that. So you want to make sure everybody's listening to her. I already have them. I don't know why. Yeah, she gave me my money.
I prefer number 1 and 2 is I think we're picking 2 today, and they're rid of. I don't sit right here.
Yep.
I like the way you slide your in, Sarah.
Okay. So, as she is passing those out, I'm going to just remind you that you're picking 1 and 2, your top 2 calendars. You're going to put 1, 2, with 1 on the top of the 1, that's your number 1 and number 2. But let me begin by highlighting the different calendars. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. So, you have the quarters. They are calendar A. We'll start with A. You have the quarters. They are fairly balanced, almost exact. They're balanced, I should say. And this one, we have 177 days. I will tell you, we could remove 2 of those days and make it 175. I just want to say that because that is an oversight. We can definitely do that. You see the instructional hours, nothing else changes because the rest of it is state law. On this calendar, we start school on the 28th. Our teachers report back on the 17th. You see the grading periods. I do want you to know that the work days throughout the year are basically the day before the grading period ends. So our teachers have to have some time to do those grading periods. Okay? On this calendar, our winter break is the 18th through the 1st. The 5th on all 3 of the calendars is an optional workday or undesignated workday because that is a primary voting day. Spring break is the first week in April, and there is a work day on the 8th. We get out on the 7th, the students get out on the 7th, and teachers are done on the 12th. Are there any questions about this calendar that you have that because I feel like I'm going fast because I know this. Okay. B2, this calendar starts, first of all, the quarters are fairly equal, not quite as equal, because of the simple fact one semester is longer than the other. Semester 1, you have 83 instructional days. Semester 2, you have 91. I will tell you that, because if you choose this calendar in all transparency, it should be 175 days. So we missed a day, so one of these work days in the second semester would have to go away somewhere. Okay, we have to figure that out, because both calendars, we want 175 days minimum because of our instructional hours and because of weather, if the committee's okay with that. We had said we wanted 1085, but there was no way we can get that much time. So we felt comfortable with 1050. You remember that? Yes.
Would we be able to implement a half day instead of doing a full day?
The committee voted against half days.
Okay, so we can't do any half days?
Committee voted against it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so, I'm sorry, where was that? Spring break, you see, and here we get out of school. Students' last day is May 24th. Teachers' last day is the 4th. The biggest thing you need to know on calendars B and C, the winter break runs in the last week of December and the first week of January. Okay? Calendar C is the same. Besides, we start August the 28th. So because we start later, we end later. So the last day of school on calendar C is June 5th. The semesters are way unbalanced. You have a 19-day difference in instructional time, which is almost a month. I am going to be quiet and let you process for the next 2 to 3 minutes.
May I ask just one quick question?
Oh, sure.
Sorry. So draft B with the earlier day, that ends the semester before Christmas, correct?
Yes, it is the 21st.
Yep.
If you bring that, the 21st would be the last day of first semester
Okay.
for B and C.
B and C. Okay.
Any more questions for you process? Okay, I'm going to just kind of give you 3 minutes to just go over this before we do next step.
It would decrease, wouldn't it, when it go to 90? No, you're right, it would go up to, it would increase, yeah. That's right.
Versus 83.
Okay, so, do we need to have discussion, or are there questions before we prioritize? Yes, ma'am?
Is there a way to switch an undesignated and a designated workday? Like
It
on
is?
Calendar B2,
Uh-huh.
would it be possible to switch the designated workday to the 5th and then just drop the 14th, since the 5th they have to be closed, we have to be closed?
Which month are you looking at?
Oh, I'm sorry, March 2024.
That is actually a grading period, so that one would not be switched.
Okay.
Because so teachers are, they're getting grades done, so that's why we do that
Okay,
one.
but we would be able to move it a week earlier.
The grading period?
No, ma'am, the actual workday.
The work day is because the grading period ends the day before.
Right.
So right after that, you have a designated work day.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other discussion before we prioritize?
I had another designated workday question
Uh-huh.
about the day before Thanksgiving, the November 22nd.
That's a holiday. Isn't that a holiday? That's not designated
Vacation
work day, that's
It's
a
vacation
holiday.
day. So this one's a work day, and this one is a holiday. Sorry.
What calendar are you talking about?
I got it.
Tell me
Never
which one
mind.
you're talking about.
I have my
She got
sheet.
it, okay, all right. So let's prioritize, unless you have some questions that will stop you from prioritizing. Go ahead.
So, it was mentioned that if we started before whatever the calendar law says, that there'd be a consequence. What is the consequence? Do we know?
Mr. Boyer, there have been districts that done that there could be consequences. What the state says, there has not been any as this list. I mean, some districts are doing it, they have not seen any consequences. But the state says that.
I have one question. So if we prioritize these two, like the two we find best, and the board accepts one of them, is that final?
Oh, that's fine.
That's final, okay.
Yeah.
So we specifically wanted the grading period to end before December last year, and that was one of the things we reconvened on. So I think that would be one of the most important.
That's your vote. Everybody here will vote. They're gonna prioritize, okay? All right.
Can I just ask?
Yes.
Can I steal what you said and ask if we can do that? So I just overheard them talking and I liked their idea. For B2, you were saying.
B2, she's talking about B2. A little louder, please.
Yeah, sorry, and you were saying that we would have to give a day because it wasn't enough.
Yeah, B2, it looks like we're gonna have to give a day, because it should be 175. I don't know where to come from.
Well, they had a good idea for that, of moving spring break the week before, because then you have that Good Friday that we're off anyways. So then you'd be giving a day instructional day back, so just an option.
Once we
Right.
prioritize, we're gonna clean the calendar up to the point we think is good.
Okay, I just make sure that's.
Yeah, because I will tell you, the calendar committee before voted that they wanted spring break to be here.
Yeah.
So we would have to vote on changing spring break, that's a
Okay.
biggie, right? Okay? Anything else? Yes,
Sorry, are we trying to, coordinate spring breaks for the year-round and the early child and all that stuff?
we are gonna work on that. I will tell you, when spring breaks fall, either way spring break falls, we figured out how to coordinate it. So don't worry about that. We actually have our specialty schools, they're going to also select the same workday in October that we do for PD, or not PD, but same workday in October. One of those days, or, we've been talking, I can't remember now because we've done so many different shifts, I'm gonna be honest with you, but it was a workday. We were gonna try to be out at the same time. Anything else, guys? Are you ready to prioritize? Okay. So what I asked you to do is, I asked you to put, 1 or 2 on the top of your calendars, correct? We don't need your 3, we just need 1 and 2. So no, just write it up here, on the calendar itself. Okay, on the calendar itself. 1 or 2. What is your number 1? What is your first choice? What is your second choice?
Can we ask, now that
Mr. Boyer, you made a comment about consequences, so they want to know what consequences you're talking about. You said there will be consequences, they said?
No, I didn't say there will be. I don't like to speculate on anything the General Assembly might do. I said there could be. There could be. The General Assembly is not in session until after the board approves the calendar committee. That's why, this is just me. I went with options A and B2 because I would like to present to the board an option that is in keeping with the calendar law in case the consequences are severe. I don't know that there will be. I don't anticipate that there will be. But if there are severe consequences, the calendar committee would have to reconvene and come up with a calendar that conforms with the law. So if we sent them one of each, it would alleviate the issues that could be associated with consequence. Again, nobody's done this. Some western counties get a waiver. There might have been 1 or 2 that have just said, we're doing it anyway as well. They're very small. With Charlotte Mac, with some of the Big 12 jumping in with both feet, we'll see what they say.
Yeah.
But we don't know for sure what the consequences could look like.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm here as a parent, I have to vote the way my parents want.
That's what you should do because you're a representative. You're a representative. I mean, of course, you can vote the way you want, but we put you here as a representative. All right. And I know sometimes that's different. All right, so, anything else before we prioritize, guys? We ready? Everybody got their 1, their 2? All right. Miss Smith, can you take up everybody's 1 and then sort them somehow so you'll know which calendar it is?
Just give it 2 points for
You put 1 up there?
Yeah.
You're gonna count it. You're going statistical. What are you taking, AP stats over here or something?
Yeah, I took it out last year.
Okay, could you help her, Mr. Walt, so we can figure out which calendars are, I'm thinking 1 calendar will probably not have much at all, so we can throw that out, but I don't know. She is getting your 2s. Mr. Walt is getting your 2s. She's getting your 2s.
I like your shirt.
We gotta figure out the best way to sort this.
Oh, I need
Yeah. He's gonna give you a play-by-play of what's going on.
2s. And these ladies have to figure out the best way to sort it. And the easiest way is, because we're taking 2 calendars, so it should be pretty easy, right? So,
We can count it too.
Okay, just gotta make sure they're not mixed up, because some people's, long as we're just taking the top two, it doesn't matter who has the most number, that's not even important right now. So as they count, the calendars, I wanna see if there are any changes that anybody wants to highlight. I was gonna do this, sticky notes, but I don't think there's a lot, but I do want to ask the question about, somebody lifted up, changing spring break on B2. I need to know if the committee even wants to entertain that. Oh, that's right, we took the daggone calendars. I didn't say that.
Well, we weren't allowed to ask.
Give you the day back for Good Friday. So you don't have to take it tomorrow.
Hold on, we'll give you back. The reasoning is because we're gonna try to find one more day, and that would, push it up, but let's wait till you have it. I apologize, guys. I should have told you to do it a different way. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think the reasoning behind that, to give that extra day, I think that makes perfect sense to me. And I understand what you're saying with the calendar committee voted on it being a certain week previously. But the thing is that holiday always changes. So
No, they voted this year with this calendar, this way, with this holiday.
Okay.
The very first meeting we had, we sent out surveys, and that was the one thing that everybody was on the same page, they wanted spring break there. But that doesn't matter, this is the committee right now. Yeah, and we'll decide. Yeah.
Right, depending on
Yeah.
what day it is, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the other question I had, just generally to the group, is, we keep talking about, the state, the law. What are we doing to get that changed? What can we do to get that changed? Because we just keep talking about it.
Mr. Boyer, you have any suggestions there, Mr. McManus? I think that's a good question. Did you guys hear?
What was the question?
So the question was, we keep talking about the date we have to start school. And the state has that law, and the state. And what are we doing as a group or as a school board or, New Hanover County Schools to petition the state or to do something? What is being done, or is there something that us as a group needs to do?
Every individual can and should contact their state legislature. I can tell you, I have spoken with Senator Lee about this. I have spoken with Representative Butler about this. We work with the North Carolina School Boards Association. Our lobbyists are fighting this fight day in and day out for all school boards across North Carolina. They've been doing it since 2008, nonstop. The best thing to do is to call your legislature, but I think, this is just me speaking, I think if more boards of education take this step, that will do more than anything, because it's forcing the issue when nothing else seems to be working. It's a complicated political world, and there are a lot of competing interests with regards to that start date. I think this at least gives us the opportunity to have the conversation.
Put kids first. If you don't need
What's that?
it puts kids first instead of
Yeah.
money, whatever.
Okay, so they're passing around all three calendars. Take the two calendars that you need as they sort, so we can start our conversation. So if you have an A in your hand, take B and C. If you have a C, take A and B, okay? I'm sorry, that was a typo on my part. We might not have enough, but I'm hoping we can at least get the discussion together, get discussion started, because they're still sorting. No, it's okay, we want it accurate.
Well, so to answer your question then, I guess adding another day to the first semester would make sense. So let's start school on a Friday, right? We could do that. The 18th.
What do y'all, I just said, I don't know, the 18th.
Oh, no, you said, yeah, B2, adding another day because of the snafu with the 174, or the 170, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That was
That's out of my control, because the board is the one that's deciding if we're gonna start earlier and what day we select. So that wouldn't be me.
She's talking about the way to add another day.
I know, so the board, I can't, Mr. Board, you decided, I can't, that's nothing I can change.
Oh, okay.
I can't go earlier.
Can we start a day earlier?
I can't go earlier.
Oh.
For B2?
Yeah, so we can't start on the 18th for
Well, again, I don't think the administration.
And again, I mean, my question is, that would be starting a day just to say you're starting a day on a Friday. I think that's hard on schools.
She's trying to get the extra day.
I know, I would say to you guys, don't worry about the extra day, let that be my issue. Let that be my issue. Is this yours?
That's A. And so it's also, yeah.
Hold on 1 second. Okay. So, we're gonna be quick. They're gonna tell us the results. What are the 2 calendars that would go to the board? A and B.
No, it's okay. If you turn to us, he can't. No.
Okay, so right now we're focusing on A and B. Okay? A and B. C has no movement. It is dead in the water. We did not say that. Everybody's okay with that? Well, if not everybody, the votes are spoken. Okay? All right. So we're going to start with A. Because we're not going to spend all day, but we are ahead of the game, and we're almost finished once we get this. Let's look at A. Are there any changes the committee would like to propose on A?
Oh, we need to rehang it up.
On A, any changes? Yes.
I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but ending the first semester before winter break.
Not for A. That's why you had the other calendar.
I'm seeing if I could turn both calendars into B2 would
Okay.
be great.
Any changes on A?
Dr. Pace, so you said we could take away 2 days, because we had 177 days. Can we take away 2 days at the end of the year and just end on June 5th?
I would have to calculate and make sure everything's right, but I don't, first opinion, I think so.
I mean, that would be one day if we could take away 2 days.
You guys, committee?
What's that?
So on calendar A, it has 177 days if we count it right. And I will just caveat that we double check and double check. We have not had payroll to check these calendars, so I have to say that. Okay? So, to make it so it's 175 days, the proposal is to end June 5th instead of June 7th. Show of hands, how many people agree?
Sure.
Raise your hand. I'm sorry, you had a question?
What was the breakdown again? We don't have that top sheet that went around.
89, 88.
It's balanced. It's 89, 88.
Oh, okay, that was confusing.
Well, it'll make this 86 though. but-
So then, I guess conversely, we could say take the first 2 off the top.
Take the first 2 what off the
Take
top?
the 2 days to get rid of those 2 days.
So you're saying start the 30th?
Start the 30th. Right.
I think A matches the calendar law, which is.
Where, y'all are
First
losing
Monday.
me. Okay, say months. What days are y'all, I don't know what you're talking about.
So August,
Starting 2 days later
But we
in
were.
August.
No, we need to start the 28th.
You can't. That
You have to
would
start
break
the
the law.
28th.
That's because.
Okay? So you have to, so remember the laws and stuff, okay? All right. Hold on 1 second, let's do it one at a time. And if we get too complicated, we're gonna have to say Google Docs. Okay? I'm trying to make this so we can do this as a group, right? But if you say something, please be passionate about it and have a very valid reason. Just switching a work day is most likely a work day is because of a grading period, so please keep that in mind, okay? This is a valid reason, this as it takes the 2 days off.
Do you want me to take notes of the suggestions?
No, I'm doing it right here on this calendar.
Okay.
2, do we want to say, change calendar A to end school on the Wednesday?
Yes.
Yes.
Show of hands, I'm not gonna say,
Yes.
okay, all right. Anything else about calendar A?
Can we look at the workday on November 22nd? On the other calendar, it's a vacation day. Is there
a reason why it's not a vacation day on calendar A?
We have to have a certain amount of work days, and calendar A, we've given, their vacation days are here, not over here.
Oh, okay.
So still, it's a lot of, it's very complicated. I would, yeah.
I get it.
But you can be off either way. But we put the vacation days in January, okay.
Thank you.
Anything else for calendar A? I'm gonna say, what do you say, Vaughn?
I was looking at the end and start thinking about testing and what days we're gonna lose for assessments. And so once we start taking days from the end, that's gonna move assessments back even further.
So what's your suggestion, sir?
Oh, we're just having a conversation.
Oh, she pointed at you.
Well, no, because if we do, but to that point of voting on that, right, if we move it up, then where does that put?
Move what up?
The end date, right, on the 5th, that's what we just talked about? That if we potentially.
The committee's
could have to
already
take-
voted on
okay,
that,
well, my
guys,
fault.
sorry. I don't want to, because the committee's already
Yeah,
voted
no,
on
that's
that.
fine.
Okay, all right, B2. Any suggestions?
To get that extra day, I would recommend moving spring break to the week before Easter.
So to get the extra day, move spring break to Easter. The 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th would be spring break. Of March.
Can we have discussion?
What do you want to discuss?
I would just not like that to be the main reason somebody like dislikes this calendar, if spring break's changed from their idea of where it should be. So I'd like to explore if we can remove a less consequential day for that. If we can't, that's fine, I'm for that, but I wouldn't like that to be the reason somebody would not like this calendar.
Totally get it, but if you look at the way the days are, the only other day is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, that's a holiday.
Yeah, it's really not a lot to do, yeah.
Yeah.
If we need to lose
Grading
that
period.
extra day.
Yeah, yeah.
If we don't need to lose an extra vacation day and everybody's okay with it being a day or two off,
Yeah.
then we don't need to do anything with that, but that's the.
And
only-
let me just say
only
this,
place
let me
to
be
take
all
it down.
transparent. Transparency, we have 10:44. The minimum is 10:25. This committee said they wanted 10:85. All of these calendars were supposed to have 10:50 or more. That's actually a type, but if the committee's okay with it, just understand, if anything happens, we don't have a great cushion, and we would have to make up time. So I guess that's the question, first question.
Inclement weather.
If you look, that's the first question we should ask ourselves. Does the committee want to add an extra day to B2 to make it 175 and 1050?
So we are not required to add in.
No.
But I feel like if it
Yes, I
is
do.
possible to do, we should do it.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, that's what the committee had said originally, that was the best practice. So let's vote on that. Yes, ma'am.
I think someone down there mentioned possibly at the beginning of the year too, which would give another day to the fall semester.
Let's vote on this first and maybe, let's make sure we just question. The question now is, you got something about 175 adding today?
Well, I just want to point out that on all three calendars, March 5th is an undesignated workday for elections, but we did not mark the election day in November, which is typically a bigger turnout.
We never mark the election day in our off year. We don't do it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
We stay open.
Yeah, and that we called or something, I don't know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
Well, we do.
This has been different for me, but Ms. Smith has been doing this for years, and the off year, they always mark the primary day in March or something, they ask that we do that. This is not us, this is what we've done around
This is
here.
not an off year election.
This would be,
This is a municipal election, so only 7 of our schools are impacted as polling places.
on March 5th?
This coming March, there's no primary in 2023.
I
The
know.
primary is in the summer.
Well, this is 2024, she's talking about March 2024.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we,
March.
she
Yes,
called
yes.
and they said that there's something going on March 5th. Do you know, Ms. Smith? They asked that we do
Is that what it's
that.
gonna, okay, yeah. that's-
Because that was weird to me. I'm just gonna be honest. So she showed me the email And evidently, it's something that we do.
Yes, yeah. For a primary, yes. But not, I was just saying, that in November, we don't have that.
Oh, no, November, we're good. I mean, we're, the 24th, we're not, yeah. So the question is back on the table. Do we want to say we're going to find 107, one more day?
Yes, I do.
Vote, show of hands? Oh, okay, all right. Okay, so now, do we want to move our spring break? Show of hands? Okay, everybody's agreed that that looks like that's winning? Okay, everybody, okay, all right. Anything else with calendar B?
I say one more week of instruction.
I know I'm sitting way over here, but if you all are going to change spring break up to March, the 25th to the 28th, that's still going to leave you an annual leave day. Because there's 5 annual leave days.
Oh, yeah.
April the 1st.
Yep.
So you all need to decide, where is that other annual leave day going to go? Is it going to go for April the 1st? Because we have to have
Yep,
those annual leave days in there.
Yep.
Which are vacation days.
yep.
So that's something.
Then it doesn't make sense to move.
Yeah, so, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Can we put that annual leave day on January 3rd instead of an undesignated workday?
We couldn't we, Miss Smith?
Then you gotta put the work day somewhere.
But then where's the workday?
Could we put the
You don't
workday?
have to have the workday, we have plenty of workdays.
I was gonna say, we could put the workday in February.
We don't need
because
the
of
workday.
holidays.
Yeah.
We could. So that becomes a holiday. Or an annual leave day, or whatever it's called, the blue day.
You all are going to move January 3rd, that day to January 3rd, is that what you're agreeing to do?
Guys? Sure. So 29th would be the 3rd, the holiday would be the 3rd. But we could just make a holiday any day?
No.
Annual day. I know.
Vacation day, not a holiday.
The 29th? The 29th is a holiday, isn't it Good Friday?
No, what I'm saying is, you're gonna have an extra annual leave day. Vacation
Talking about
day,
this day right here.
but you all are moving.
Right.
the spring break to the week of the.
Oh, that one, got it, I got it, thank you. Sorry, I was thinking I was moving that one, I'm sorry. Okay, so is that what we want to do?
Dr. Tracy, can I ask a quick question? And I apologize, because I was in Raleigh for the last meeting when y'all decided on the 1050. Is the reason for wanting the 1050 to have a buffer in case of inclement weather? Was that, okay?
Well, actually, the committee said 1085 was the thing, but that's high. But yeah, that was the reason behind, because you have to keep in mind, it's just not weather. Your school could have a pipe burst and everybody had to get out. And if we don't have any buffer, your school has to go back to school a day.
So the only thing I would just say, just devil's advocate, is the last inclement weather day that we had just recently, we decided to make it a remote learning day, so we wouldn't have to make it up anyway. So since remote learning is now kind of an option on the table that we've never had in years past, does that change that conversation?
So for me, if I can speak, it's not about weather. It's about how far behind our kids are and getting in front of their teachers and staying there.
And that's why I was asking what
See,
the
for me,
rationale
like
was.
1050 is pretty low. But, and we used to be, when I got on the board 4 years, it was 1080, 1070. And we, there's some trade-offs, but I think they're worth it. Going lower than that to me, going down to like 1025, 1044, I want that extra day so the kids can be in class.
Okay.
And I think we found it in a way that, so we're saying move spring break up in March, and that's where it was this year. Remember that? So it's not like we're doing something that we're not used to. And then we'll take that, one of those annual leave days and make it the 3rd. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. Anything else for B2?
Can I ask a question? For May 28th, that's an undesignated day, and then you have 2 designated work days after that. Is there?
I'm gonna just tell you, that's me and my logic, and let's talk about it. People might be out of town and they want to take that day, but we have to have days where teachers come back and do certain things. So if you guys think it should be designated.
I'm trying to think from the teacher's perspective. you know, they usually, that last designated day is sort of their holy grail. If you move the designated day to the 29th to the 28th, and those two designated were 28, 29, then for them.
Oh, I had that at first, and we could do that, but I just thought if somebody's out of town, that's what I thought. Teachers, I mean, wait, which one?
I'd say 28th, 29th as your designated.
Okay, that's what I had. Are we okay with that? Anybody passionate any other way? Ms. Smith, we're going back to the 20, because we had that. I thought maybe people want to be out of town, sorry. The 29th and the 28th and the 29th will be designated. The 31st will begin our undesignated.
30th would be.
30th, I'm sorry.
Sure, the 28th and 29th of May would be designated, and the 30th would start the undesignated.
All right. Anything else, guys?
I have. Okay. If we miss instructional time somehow, because this calendar is already ends 2 weeks earlier than the previous calendar, can we just tack on days to the end of the school year, or will we have to add a full week every time?
If you miss instructional time, you have different options. So it's just like tacking on. You could do, sometimes you have the option of remote days. Sometimes you don't have to make it up if you have a cushion. It would depend on how many days.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, any other questions? I want you to feel good. Don't y'all walk out here and say Dr. Faison's calendars. Y'all better not.
So this is what Nelson is going to the board with to
So
say.
that's the next step. This is what I was gonna,
Okay, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
okay,
Go ahead.
that's the next step. So, what we need to do is decide on, do we put these calendars out for public comment?
No.
Or do we take them just to the board?
Just to the board. And I think.
Now, that is, I mean,
Can I say, if we take them just to the board, they'll be on the agenda, there'll be an opportunity for the public to comment anyway. So it is there. I mean,
Okay.
we're not shutting the public out by taking them to the board. The public always has an opportunity to comment on all the board's business. All this stuff is posted.
I'm just wondering if you're going to go saying, listen, this is our thought. Because this is, and I'm just speaking, just saying, this is what most of the people want on the committee. This is worked out in the past. This is what we've come with. Yeah, there could be some repercussions from the state, but this is what we decided. Not even letting them know that there's another option there until you say, oh, that's not, you're really not gonna let us do it? Okay, well, we voted on
well, we
that.
had to bring calendars.
Okay, calendars. You have
Yeah,
to
so
say
we're gonna
that.
bring the two, yeah.
And
So
have
they'll
to be
see
on
both of them. But a B has to be on top, she said.
Well, I feel like last year, that's what the complaint was from a lot of people, and I'm speaking from the parent point of view, was parents heard, I guess, that's why if you put it out to the public, parents think this is what's gonna win, and all of a sudden, the rug was pulled out from everybody.
Yes.
Well, the board will decide.
I agree with you.
We
I
don't
agree
have
with
to
you.
put it out
I'm with you.
to, we don't have to put it out to the public, that's just what I've seen before. We can take these two calendars, but we do understand that it is the board's decision. We are a committee. We bring these calendars to the board and say, this is what we want. And right now, what we're saying is, these are our top two. They will make the decision. Because if we went with our top two, A was number one in the people in this room. But that doesn't even matter with the board, right? We're bringing both of these to the board, and the board will decide. Does everybody understand that? The board, this doesn't even matter anymore, because we're bringing the two calendars to the board, and the board will decide what are the two calendars, the calendar that we use.
Yes, theoretically, the board will make a decision.
Yes.
But
Okay?
what I would say, I agree with you. I don't think it's a good idea to ask people, hey, what do you think about this? And then, unless you can guarantee that they're making the decision. Because people feel like they just got jerked around. And,
Okay, all right. All right, are there any, all heads and minds clear?
I have a question. So we're presenting 2 calendars to the board, but we've only been presented 3 calendars. So somewhat, I feel like there are some better options in some things. I mean, I feel like we haven't heard any of the negative, like, things that could happen if we started a year earlier, or if we started a week earlier, sorry. And, I don't know.
We did actually, and you weren't at the first meeting?
Yeah.
There were a couple different calendars.
Okay, there were more than 3?
There were more,
Okay.
yes. These weren't the only 2 that we saw.
Okay.
There were more, and there have been iterations of the calendar. So this is what's
And
what's
to-
coming.
I apologize.
So,
No, you're fine, baby. You just do.
That's what
No,
I'm
and
saying.
and to his
And you're
credit,
asking good questions.
let me just say something about this young man. This young man came to a board meeting. He was very passionate about it, about the calendar issues. And we talked, and I saw his passion. And I asked, would you like to join the calendar committee? And he said, sure. And I said, well, send me an email. I want to make sure he was serious. I think you emailed me before I got home. So don't make any apologies. We appreciate you being here at the table. All right, so I will say to everyone, I think we've done a good job. So I will make the corrections. Mrs. Smith, can you repeat the corrections to calendar A for the committee to agree upon?
For calendar A, we have in June the 5th, ending June the 5th to June the 7th.
That's it, right?
That's A.
Okay? Hold on a second, let him get B.
Well, wouldn't it also move, it would also move those work
The
days?
work days would also move up.
Okay.
So teachers would finish up the work days, just FYI, okay? B2,
Those spring breaks come off to, March 25th to the 28th. January 3rd will now become vacation day instead of undesignated work day. And maybe the 28th and 29th will be designated, and the 30th will be undesignated.
okay. All right, so what we will do is clean those calendars up. It'll take us a little while. We'll clean those calendars up. We will then present them to the board. Probably will not be, we have to figure out, because what we have to do, so hear me. I don't know if this calendar, we're done with this process, but I don't know if it'll be November or December, because before we take it to the board, we've got to take it to payroll and some other places. We've got to make sure that all things are correct, because what we don't want is have to come back and redo something. So there are certain people who have to look at this calendar through a different lens. We will let the calendar committee know the night we take it to the board. It will not be November meeting, the first one, I can tell you that. If it's the second, I'll let you know. It might be sometime in December, but we are working behind the scenes to just clean up things and make sure we have an accurate calendar.
So, and Dr. Faison, let's say the calendars go to finance and there's something wrong and
We'll come back
something has to
together.
change, we'll come back together. Just wanna
We'll
make
come
sure
back
you know that.
together. If the calendars go to finance and there are some issues, if it's minor, I might send you an email and we do a survey vote. If not, we will have to come back together again. Okay? You feel good?
A no response will be considered as a yes or a no?
Yeah, I want to hear, do you feel good about the process?
Yes.
You feel good? Yeah. Okay? All right, good. All right, we thank you for, go ahead, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I have one more question. And I know, I'm coming at this as a parent from a high school perspective. I've gotten a lot of feedback. I think B2 would be the one, if we can do it. So I don't know if we need to have a revote, because I know based on that, it was first and second. Do we have to have just a quick vote or a show of hands, which one we prefer, like which one we strongly suggest to the board, or does it not matter?
The board, we bring calendars to the board and the board will make the decision.
Okay.
right?
So-
We can, if they ask those numbers, we can share them, but right now, they don't care about those numbers.
No,
We're
no,
gonna
I
take these
understand,
two.
Because
Yeah.
right now, it's not based on A and B, it was based on A, B, and C.
Right, but right now, these are the calendars that we'll take, they will make that decision.
So
Yes.
what if they asked us, what did the calendar committee recommend? Would you have that answer?
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
they recommended A and B2.
No, you would say they recommend.
Like between the two, what would you
Right.
do?
Right, if they said, all right,
If we decide that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's no, right now, there's no clear winner.
Right.
Right? You're going with A and B.
Right.
So,
But
so
26
B
versus
is
15.
maybe the one, let's say, I'll just say that myself and Colin prefer, right? But, and I don't prefer A, but A is the one that keeps us out of trouble. Maybe, who
Yeah,
knows?
but 26 versus 15, but those 5 for C would be for B, most likely. Because it.
Right, but then it'll be 26 to 20.
I think we're thinking too deep in this, because it's the board's decision. I'm just gonna be honest. It is the board's decision. Now, if somebody thinks something different, let me know. If you think we need to revote, I mean, I just,
I don't mind revoting.
Can I can see where she's coming from, because when there was a question of last year's calendar, they said, what does the committee recommend? The board specifically asked that. That being said, I don't know that revoting is gonna really do a whole lot, because C is taken out completely because it got 0 votes. So it's not like it has any.
right, C doesn't even have anybody, I didn't even think about that, you're right. C didn't even have anybody's vote, yeah.
Sorry, I know you can't.
Looks like it is.
Yeah, but if it's between 1 or 2, you have 2 different choices.
But right
as
now,
the
you would
first
be
and
doing-
second. But if we say, well, I want A, and there's 15 votes for A, and then
But if
10
you look
people
at
vote
right
for B.
now, the way she's saying it is, the first vote, right? So you only have, C was nobody's first vote. So it wouldn't be anybody's first vote this time either, is I think what she's saying.
Right.
So, yeah.
It might
okay.
be after they had 58 minutes to think about it. You never know.
We
That's
haven't.
that's why in the jury room, they take several votes. And I'm not trying to be difficult. I just want to make sure that.
Well, it's the committee's
If-
decision. It is not my decision. If the committee wants to
But if they
revote,
were to ask, they'd have to say A. And I don't know that that's an accurate depiction.
okay.
There will be public comment open on this when this is permitted, this is brought to the committee.
Not on this per se, there'll be a call to the audience like there always is at the monthly meeting.
Okay, so we would not be able to publicly comment on this when it is brought to the.
You could publicly comment at call to the audience on anything.
That's if it calls to the audience. Is after this is presented.
What's that?
That's if call to the audience is before this is presented.
Call to the audience is always before
Yeah.
this type of action.
Yeah, so and I just told Colin, when the calendar goes to the board, remember, we're gonna let you know it's going to the board. If you feel passionate enough, like Colin, that you wanna come and say something, you are always welcome to do that. Now, the question on the table, because again, I'm just one committee member, is do we revote? All of those in favor of revoting, raise your hand. Okay, we're revoting. All right, so we have stickies this time?
We could just do a show of hands.
Okay. Do you want it, well, you know what, people felt last time, they felt like they didn't want, I'm gonna be honest with you. So, do you have something, just write A or B. It's just, Miss, will you collect it, everybody has a sticky. A or B? A or B? So just stick them up there and we'll see, count them up, whatever.
Colin and relax.
I brought my motorcycle the other day, just from like, and there's so much.
And then when they go downstairs.
All right, Miss Smith, you have us hanging in the balance. All right, once Miss Smith lets that know, I'm gonna turn it back over to the board members while she calculates, and you can have it.
If I may, guys, a new board will be voting on this calendar. There are 8 candidates running for 4 seats. I would encourage you, I certainly will, I would encourage you to reach out to those to those candidates if you know them. It is a very difficult experience to come onto a board first thing and be asked to vote on something you had no hand in creating. So if you know them, inform them. Talk to them, let them know that this calendar, like I said, I will. They don't talk to me as often as you might think. So I will talk to them, but please, if you know them, if you have contacts with them, get in touch with them, explain what's going on so this thing can be passed in a reasonable time frame.
We have to go through that. I don't know. Honestly, I gotta take it through some. I'm thinking December. I'm thinking it's in the middle of December. All right, so is there anybody have anything else? I know we're waiting on to see the new votes. So we will be taking, just to recap, we will be taking calendars A and B, B2 to the board. Once we get it checked by finance, I think it's one more per HR, we just have to make sure that we have everything checked. As far as payroll and the law, we just like to make sure we double check that. And the new vote is, I wish we had a different color marker. Okay. Makes a difference. I back up on what I said. But I still, it's the board's decision. But I see what you're saying now. So now he'll go and say the board, there was a clear winner from the committee. Good point. You know what? I make a mistake every 20 years. Thank you. All right, so thank you so much. You're going to hold us all in here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can we get the semantics right for the board recommended by a supermajority?
Oh, please. He's got it. He's got it.
So at this point, when the parents come to me and say, do this with the calendar, do that with the calendar, I say, it is now the committee.
We are done. The only reason we will get back involved is if finance finds some issues, HR find an issue that is not a quick fix. I can tell you right now, Ms. Smith has been doing this for years. I don't see that happening. You should not, I'm thinking the next time you'll hear from me is when we'll be saying to you, our calendars will be going to the board on this date. Thank you for your service. Okay? Have a good night.
Thank you.
Let me collect these. We cannot share these. They're not going to the board. Please give them back. Please give them back. Thank you. You trying to get me in trouble?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Terry.
I think it was good. So once we get, you can start looking at What's your first student day?
Mine is not.
What do you have now?
So I'm trying to figure out why I go 108 and everybody else. Like I said, I got different amounts of help.
So you will have a different amount of August 4th. So I don't know that. We can, Ms. Smith can help you with that, I'm sure. So what we would need you to do is, once we pick the designated day in August, to make that a work day.
That's why I just trying to use that.
We haven't done it yet. Yeah, but I want to get once we did not sign it.
We want something, but we can show that's the key. We're not the NFC, we're not the NFC least anymore.
All right, Colin, I appreciate your service, sir. It's been real. It's been nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Different.
I'll get the.
Okay.